We need an approval of last meeting's minutes.
I move to approve the minutes from last meeting.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. On to reports. Mr. Cronin.
All right, enrollment stays steady. We're already starting to get a few inquiries about enrollment for next fall, so I'm excited about that. I just had a family come in this week and take a look at things, so things are looking good there. Teacher and Staff Appreciation Week was last week. Big shout out to the PTSA. They provided some treats in both of the teacher lounges on Monday and Tuesday, and the school provided some thank you treats on Wednesday and Thursday, but there's just not enough that we can do to adequately thank our teaching staff for their dedication to the kids, for their work throughout the year, and they do a great job every single day, and I'm very much grateful to work with the team that I work with. And last week was a week set aside so that we can celebrate all of our staff, not just the teachers, our paraprofessionals, all of our classified and certified people are people that we honor because they do an amazing job for our school, for the kids, for the community. So thank you to the teachers. At our last board meeting, I talked about a site visit by Patty Montgomery. She came in, she loved our building. She spent a couple of days there, in and out of all the classrooms, a lot of time in my office. And a couple of the takeaways that she said, we have solid time in text, which is our kids are reading. They spend a lot of time in front of books, reading in a variety of different ways. And she said, this is, in the schools that she visits, she's like, you guys are really above the curve on that with the amount of time that you're spending devoting to working with reading and the process of learning it. Some target areas is to some degree interventions, but certainly our enrichments. We want to continue to push our kids that are on grade level, try to get them as far along as we can. And so she's given us kind of a check sheet of things that we can work on over the next year to continue to grow and improve. So meeting with my leadership team this week, we're going to start mapping out our plan for next year, which I'm very excited about. Mr. Slater and I just sat in a meeting yesterday with OPI and the Montana Reads Grant personnel and did our end of year report. In the elementary's case, I'll just report on some of the takeaways on that. First of all, the board that was listening to our presentation, which went a little bit over because I can be verbose. And Mr. Slater can too, given an open mic. But they did appreciate the time we spent, the intentionality that we put into this report, so that they are confident with the fact that when they give us this grant money, that it's going to a good use. Some of my takeaways, every class so far has met or exceeded its growth goals in reading for the year. I still have a couple of classrooms that have not finished their spring assessments yet, so I can't give a full report on that. But we've used the grant funds in a way that has helped our students grow, and that definitely came out in the data. I'm very excited about that. I was excited to report that to OPI. And finally, in looking back, completed all of my classified staff evaluations, gave some well-deserved kudos where they were due, and some suggestions on how they can improve their craft. So those are all done, and according to all of them, they're all coming back. So I'm very excited to retain a very good classified staff in the elementary. Current projects, we have, if you've got elementary kids, you've heard about Reading with My Nomies. It's a reading competition that we do every spring, and we send home this paperwork, and the parents are we trust the parents to tell us how many minutes the kids have spent every day in a book, either being read to or reading to their parents or reading silently. And there are different tiers of awards that we give out for students who read specific amount of minutes. In some cases, we are already up to hours with a lot of our kids. So that is exciting time, and we'll give those awards out the last week of school. Finishing up our spring assessments, math and math. This week we are, the fifth grade is finishing their science state testing, and we've got a couple others for math and reading. We should get those tied up in the next 5 to 7 days. Field trips, we've been all over the state enjoying what Southwest Montana has to offer. Museum of the Rockies, the Lewis and Clark Caverns, there's an archaeology day, and that if you have not been to the remodeled museum in Helena, I'm told it's fantastic. And we've got one of our crews going there, so I'm excited I might actually join them on that. Going to Piedmont Pond, the Golden Sunlight Mine, the local museum, the Berkeley Pit, all over the place where our kids can continue to learn. And this week we are going to be finalizing our class lists for next year. So everything will be ready to go before that last week of school. Looking ahead, spring concert for the elementary is this Thursday at 6. Always a big event. They do a very, very nice job. Mrs. Ronsberg, Mrs. Highlake worked really hard to prepare these kids. And so that show is this Thursday. And then on the 28th, the last Thursday of the school year, is our PK through 5 track and field day. Another big event. All parents are welcome to come and watch. Only 2.5 weeks left. We're going to finish strong. That's our mode in the spring. Are there any questions?
2.5 weeks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Koenig. Mr. Slater.
Yes, thank you very much. It's been very busy every day, and obviously this spring is just the busiest time of year. So let's get started here. One of the biggest things we do is hire people, right? There's nothing more important in Whitehall schools than people that we have. I'm very excited about the hires we've been able to bring on with Scarlett, Malcolm, and Andrew. I talked about them in previous board meetings. They'll be our new math and English teacher. One thing about all the reporting and grant stuff, the best thing for me is it forces me to reflect and see what's going on. Besides just writing a whole bunch of stuff and talking about it, it makes you actually reflect and see what's good, what's been successful. This year, our middle school in math, last year wasn't really that pretty. We didn't do that great. Through some teaming and then looking at different teams throughout the school, the admin team, looking at teaming from the elementary school to the middle school, and the collaboration that happened between our 5th grade and middle school teachers. So far, we're in our last math test, but indications are that all those scores came up. So that's a celebration. That's local experts, great teachers that we have on staff sharing things that work, right? So that's a great thing. Another thing, as far as strengths within our school, Kristen Worth and Kayla Hay in our science, a place that the state of Montana is typically weak. Once again, and I have the results, and I feel bad. I was working on a truck out in the parking lot, and I should have put this on your board report, but I have it here, so just have to take my word for it, because it's great. The state of Montana, once again, we can strongly anticipate Whitehall Middle School is going to crush the state average, and our number of these a 1 through 4 rating, and she was so proud to come down, and that's what I love. I love that she's proud and excited about what happened in the class and coming down and sharing out with me. That's as good as it gets. And the kids were jacked about it too. So that was another point of celebration. Now, high school, our state assessment is ACT. And the state of Montana as a whole, the first report that came out looked very good, and Whitehall didn't do that great either. So I spent the weekend dragging my lip about that. Talked about how we're going to make it better, and then recently got an email, and then Miss Eastkins, as soon as she saw it, she's like, man, this doesn't make sense. So we started looking into it, and sure enough, there seems to be some errors with the validity of the ACT right now. So now all the scores have been released. I'm not stating it exactly the way I think I gave you a copy of what was said in here. Yeah, I did, our ACT results. So they're going to change a little bit. Obviously, as a parent and an administrator and educator, anytime a national test comes out and then they're like, oh, hold on a second, we need to see, we might have messed this up. That's not real great, right? So that causes people to wonder kind of what's going on. But I don't have the answer to that. I'm sharing with you that is the state That's not just a local thing. The ACT is a national assessment. So what happened? I don't know. So all of you parents that receive your ACT scores from your kids, take a big breath. For one thing, it's not a predictor of how great or successful you're going to be in life. So if your kid didn't do great, let's be all right. Now, the real result may be coming up. So enough about the ACT.
I just want to jump in and say this is highly unusual. I've been in this field for 26 years and never has the ACT come out and said we issued the wrong scores. So that happened. They're doing a national press release tomorrow. We got advance notice of it from the state. Our scores did look unusual. I noticed it. We actually contacted ACT because we noticed discrepancies in the scores. They didn't tabulate correctly. In fact, by my calculations, we're off by like 2 points apiece, bit most of the kids. Anyhow, we contacted ACT and just said, what's going on? They said we changed our formula somewhat. We, basically stood by their scores, and then we got this, like a week later saying they're all wrong. For like anyone who took it during the school day in the online environment, which is thousands of kids. I mean, across our state, it's thousands of kids. And then when you think of the national implications, I imagine this will be a national news story very shortly. That, one of the major tests did not score kids correctly this year. And I don't know how that happened. There must be something in their algorithm, or potentially they were using AI to score. I have no idea what occurred. We don't have that information like Mr. Slater said, but just know that this is a very unusual anomaly, and we hope that it does not affect kids who are trying to get admitted to schools or get scholarships. That's our concern. But it's out of our hands at this point. Thanks.
Yeah, so that's the ACT, so stay tuned for more on that. Back up to the top, I started again, thanks. I'll echo Mr. Koenig in Teacher Appreciation Week, PTSA, and the school district. Make sure we had treats all week. I can't say this enough. Today we had an interview. We have 3 interviews scheduled this week for our social studies position. I talked to a great guy from Iowa. What is his number one concern? His number one question is housing, affordability. Okay, that's real. Recruitment and retention of people. I just share that with the board as general awareness. The other thing, the challenge, our schools are only as good as the teachers and people in the school. That's it. And besides Teacher Appreciation Week, all of the time, taking the time to do that as a community, whoever's watching out there, when you do things, recognize not just anyone can teach. It takes a special, smart, intelligent, patient person that probably could have done 100 other things, right? Not just anyone can teach, and we're very lucky to have the teachers we have. So when you have the opportunity, I encourage everybody to thank them for their service, thank them for teaching your kid, and thank them for what they do and being in our school and community, because we want to keep them. And that's one thing we do control is our gratitude. So Teacher Appreciation Week was successful, but beyond that, I just can't thank the good teachers enough, because they are the most important thing next to students in our school. So community service, always good to do some community service. We have a project coming up. Cold Sunlight Mine is not on here, but they continue to be an excellent sponsor and partner. The senior class is planning a trip with myself and Mr. Prevost up to Paint the W. We did that 4 years ago. Hopefully that goes well. We also did town cleanup with our new mayor, Linda Young, and Corey Clapton and company. That's a great event. They bought lunch in the end and did some real good town cleanup. Had a walk around. The weather was cooperative, so that's nice. I think that about wraps it up. Graduation's right around the corner. I have 2 board members that have volunteered to hand out diplomas. I believe they are Mr. Reif and Mrs. Becker, I believe. Is that right? Okay. So I think, pretty sure. So I'll look at it. I'll be sending out the information to everybody this week, along with all the senior parents. Rest assured, okay, that will be coming out. And then graduation will be underway. And then the Wednesday, I think after graduation, I should look at this, is promotion for 8th grade promotion. Yeah, I'm excited to get the year in the books. We're already scheduling 2, which is good. Any questions about the middle school or the high school?
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, just wanted to recognize our staff at just following what Curtis and Jason said. We have 70 staff members. Half of them are teachers, half of them are auxiliary positions, kitchen, maintenance, secretarial, clerk, et cetera, et cetera. So really just want to take the time to recognize everybody. When we celebrate Teacher Appreciation Week, we always celebrate it as Staff Appreciation Week because the other professionals don't have their own weeks. So kind of celebrate it all as one, but really appreciate our staff. As was stated earlier, we are only as good as our staff. So really appreciate the effort our staff puts in to making our schools great for our kids. Something that Jason did not mention, but I think it's noteworthy is yesterday, the high school received formal recognition of the Purple Up Award, which was the military friendly award for Whitehall High School. We were recognized statewide as being a military-friendly environment. In large part, that's due to a lot of the work that Janet Hyland does with the Veterans Day Assembly and how we recognize the entire community in that assembly for their service. And so definitely can credit Janet and Erica Rosberg as well for continuing that tradition of recognition of the military service members and veterans in our community. As far as end of the year in the district office, we are turning our attention to finishing out payroll. So now that our teachers are paid twice a month, that means 6 payrolls are coming up at the end of the month because they get their summer checks when they check out. So Mr. Silvani and Mrs. Christensen will be very busy with doing 6 days of payroll, preparing for teachers to check out, but that's in the works. Then after school is out, Alyssa and I turn our attention to creating the budget for next year and closing out this existing budget, so our fiscal year ends June 30th. And we work on what's called the trustees financial summary, which you all see in August and approve, which is the look back at our finances for this year, and then the budget for the coming year is also approved. So that will be how we spend the summer, is working on those 2 documents. Quick update on Bridged Health Alliance. So that is our new healthcare that we approved back this fall, I think in November. The transition is actually going well. We wanted to report that we are currently enrolling everyone in their updated plans, and the transition should be seamless. Come July 1, everyone will have their new cards and be enrolled. So from our perspective, I guess on the paperwork end, it is going really well. And we've had Eric Reinschmidt, who's an alumni of Whitehall High School. He is here this week helping people to enroll and answering questions and getting everyone squared away. So appreciate having him on site to facilitate that. And then finally, Curtis and Jason both briefly touched on math scores. Math is our state assessment. We take it 3 times a year. Our second round of testing, we were above the state average in every single grade in both subjects, ELA and math. So mid-year, we'd already passed the state average, tested higher than the state average. And that is consistently our goal, is to improve from that point. So as Mr. Slater stated, we are on track to do that for our 3rd round and final round as well. Unfortunately, those results are not as immediate. We get them in August, the 3-year results. So we'll be updating you in the fall on how we did in culmination this year. That's all I have.
All right, any questions? Okay, on to old business. 112 lunch fund expenses report for the spring.
Okay, so on your iPad there, you have a document called lunch report. And this is the running total of the revenue versus expenditures. We've talked about this. Now, this is our 4th time this year. So just keeping you updated. This is our last time talking about it. Because in June, we'll talk about athletics. But we have collected $145,074 in revenue. This is from the USDA food reimbursement and also from state subsidizing. our expenses are $201,156. So the district will have to supplement the 112 fund, move money from our general fund or a multi-district fund to balance out that fund to the tune of $56,082. And so just once again, I feel compelled to say, like, this is not the fault of anyone. This is just higher expenses. Food expenses have increased dramatically. Our food bills are like double what they used to be. And this is just, I know everyone's experienced this in their own lives, but obviously inflation has outpaced what the government is reimbursing us. Their reimbursement has not increased. And so we are collecting less money, but having greater expenses. So that is something Alyssa and I will have to balance out as we close out for the year. We will have to transfer money from other funds to cover that deficit. There was confusion the last time I commented on this. I had calls from people who were confused. They thought that I meant that we had $56,000 in unpaid lunch fees. No, this is just our expenses exceeding our revenue. As far as how much we have in the balance of unpaid lunch fees, so these are people that don't qualify for free and reduced lunch or haven't filled out an application. They are self-pay. We do have $2,181 in unpaid lunch balances. So that is the current amount of money that is owed by families. And hopefully they close out their accounts before the end of the year if they're able to. If anyone is struggling, we encourage them to fill out the free and reduced lunch form. There's a lot of people that qualify for reduced who aren't aware that they would qualify. So definitely can still happen even at any point in the school year. So that is the update on our lunch. Don't think that's practical. I think we will, if the higher our lunch, first of all, lunch prices are set by the USDA. We actually get a memo in August or September that tells us what our USDA rate is. And so we pretty much have to follow that. We have to set it as our minimum. But if we were to increase it much higher, I think we'd have less customers. We have less kids eating, and it doesn't really solve the problem in the sense that our expenses are going to be the same per serving probably. And in fact, it might actually make it worse because the more we can buy in bulk, the cheaper it is. So no, this is not a currently solvable situation. We are doing, and I was going to mention this when we hire the classified staff, but I'll mention it now. We are reducing one kitchen position. So we had 5 people in the kitchen. We are reducing to 4. We have been at 4 before, and we're trying to recapture some of our revenue, I guess, that way, by reducing by 1. But with prices fluctuating so much, it's difficult. I think I sent you an email at the start of the year in the fall where we got charged $96 for a case of lettuce. Do you remember that? And we had to actually discontinue our salad bar during that time when lettuce was really exorbitantly high. We've made some adjustments, I guess, to what we're serving sometimes because of that. So, but it's really not a money-making proposition because the USDA just doesn't.
All right, on to new business. The 21st Century Program update.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Moen. My partner in crime, co-director Kristen Hart, is at baseball tonight. But we wanted to take the time to give guys an update on where we have been since, sorry, we're not watching TV. Where we have been since our last update in December. So we'll go over some quick updates, some current challenges that we've had come up, highlight some of our summer offerings, and seek feedback from you guys as always. So a few things. When we were in December, we were preparing for our monitoring visit from the state office of personnel instruction or public instruction. So they came down in January and finished their thorough review on site with us. Had no major findings or anything to be concerned about. Appreciated all of our work for our documentation. it was a learning experience. There's a new director in the state position, so she, we were kind of learning expectations at that time. So now we know those expectations and have systems in place to help make it less painful, hopefully, when we have this again in 2 years. Kristen and I were able to attend the National After School Alliance Conference in Washington, D.C. We will be presenting our resources that we use for our program throughout all of our curriculum at the state level this summer for our state 21st Century Conference to help share some of those resources that we found and what has been working for us. Funding changes, so as you guys just discussed, lunch funds are not looking good. Previously, the school has been able to support snacks for after-school program and summer program. Now, this is no longer the case. So it is something that is required for our grant. However, our grant funding is not allowed to purchase snacks. So students can do nutrition, cooking lessons, or things like that. But ultimately, we can't just go buy snacks to provide with our funds. So that's a big challenge for us. Mrs. Neeskins sent a kind of a short deadline, but she found a grant opportunity through the Montana Board of Crime Control that is for basically supplemental funds for after-school programming that is an allowable expense to purchase snacks. So Kristen worked really hard to do a couple-day turnaround on a really extensive document, and we've applied for that grant. So we will find out in June if we are awarded what we've requested, all or some of it, or nothing. And that those funds would come in July 1st. So our hope is that that would be able to help support our programming starting next school year through there. In addition to the snacks, she also was able to include things like some funding for 6th grade orientation. Again, that's something I'll touch on a little bit later, but 21st Century does not really support how we've done that in the past any longer. So that's been another change. And things like our iPads are very outdated. We can't even upload apps on them and things. So that all was kind of included. So we're hoping that we receive good news with that, but it's still up in the air. So in the meantime, we did ask the community, a couple different organizations for some support, especially for our upcoming summer program for our students. We're very thankful that the PTSA and the Golden Sunlight Mine were able to make very generous donations to help us purchase snacks to get us through the summer program. We still partner with Action Inc. out of Butte, and the public library picks up lunches for us. And then on field trip days, one of us will drive up and pick them up from Butte, but we'll still be able to provide food for the kids throughout our summer program. While we were waiting on those answers, we did also speak with several other organizations like the Food Pantry, the Public Library, Gold Junction Presents, and they were all willing to help us if needed to help with donations. So again, we really appreciate those organizations' support. We're really trying to be cautious that we're not impacting the community members any more than necessary, just like the case with the school lunch funds. So thank you to those organizations. Just a quick recap of some of the things we've done throughout the school year. So we have our K-5 after-school program from 4 to 5:30, Monday through Thursday. So we've hit these categories in multiple ways throughout the school year, but we advertise, every 2 to 3 months, new activities, and the teachers kind of pick from things. We use interest surveys from the parents and from the students to choose what we're doing. So we've hit, again, all of these in a variety of ways, some guest presenters, some partnerships with the public library. Career readiness was a big focus for us this year. We've also had one special Friday a month. If you remember last year, we tried to do like a half-day Friday 3 times a month. Our participation wasn't great. This year, most days had much higher participation. We've been able to take some field trips, do some kind of more extensive hands-on things, archery, growth science. We went down to the community event at Arbor Day a few weeks ago. We had MSU come in and do a partnership with baseball and football that really football and basketball really focuses on the academics and who you are as a person and not just in your classroom impact on the field and on the court. So kind of some pretty positive messages we have good turnout for. We do have one more session coming up this Friday. If parents are interested and they want to sign up, that sign up is being sent on Seesaw. Our 612 offerings, if you remember, again, has been another goal to try to do an expansion on that. Some of this is trying to provide the staff members that are already doing these things with a little bit of funding and supplemental income to keep them interested and engaged, because as you guys know, that most of our staff is our school day staff, whether they're paraprofessionals or teachers, and as the administration just spend a lot of time thanking and appreciating them. It takes even more time for them to be willing to stay after school, outside of school time on Fridays, things like that to do this. So we greatly appreciate it. Academic Olympics was one of the big things that just happened a few months ago. Some great success stories on just the kids having the confidence to do that, be part of that. Youth Leadership Program was another partnership that, again, students that normally are very quiet and reserved were participating in these community engagement projects, public service projects, and able to present in front of a large group of people, which was a huge win for those kids. And some of the other sessions we've talked about on there. So coming up this summer, Mrs. Heilig is going to do a band camp. We have our K-8 4-week program. We'll do 6 orientation. And we're able to, again, provide some compensation to a staff member, to Mr. Norbert, who's been willing to dedicate some time for credit recovery support to kind of help keep up with grading and things like that for the high school students that need that. So again, all of these signups have been sent on Infinite Campus and or Seesaw. So please make sure that you sign up before things close. But our band camp is for incoming 5th through 8th graders, June 1st through the 4th, some half days. 21st century, so our K-8 program, I'll kind of go through this quickly, but we have made some adjustments based on feedback, again, from parents and students. This year we've condensed to 4 weeks and made it full days. So our school day regular schedule, 8 to 4 p.m. In the past, we've done like a long day once a week for a field trip and then shorter days. So hopefully this helps parents plan accordingly for childcare and things like that. But we do have heavy focus on career readiness through here. We really have worked hard to try to find different things every year. This is our 5th year with Ms. Worth and I running this, and we try to find unique things. So as Mr. Koenig highlighted, the elementary does some awesome local field trips to some pretty big places around here. So we try to steer away from those when we can to get different experiences for the students. And again, that range of kindergarten through 8th grade can be a bit of a challenge. But we have, like I said, some big career readiness things. We have a local barber and beauty parlor coming, a planting thing, woodworking. Miss Miller has been willing to do a couple sessions to get the kids hands-on some skills there. And in the shop, one of our field trips is to our Winston fly rods, and then Jack Creek Preserve will come up to Piedmont Common and do a variety of activities with us there. We go to the public library on Wednesdays to support their programming. They're still working out their schedule, but we have some live animals coming in. Animal Wonders is always a return big hit. This year, Ms. Crayhay is going to do some art sessions for our students. We're going to Highland College. They're going to do some campus tours and learn about nursing programs, construction, truck driving, STEM careers. Melissa Stratton's going to come in and do some photography. We have a bakery coming to do some cookie decorating. 4-H is going to come do some projects, Department of Agriculture. We are going to go out to Lewis and Clark State Park. We're not going to do a caverns tour, but they're going to do some programming on some wildlife things there, bird identification, animal highs, bats. Williams Academy is something that was new to me. I didn't know that they existed, but we were able to connect with some good resources through Montana Department of Labor that helped us get connected with them. They have pretty extensive hands-on training for plumbing and HVAC primarily, but also heavy equipment simulators. The Lab 406 is primarily like baseball batting cage that most of these local baseball players are familiar with, but they're going to do some dodgeball, kickball, bounce house, some fun things like that with us. We have a special guest presenter coming in that will do a session with the kids and some professional development for us for some physical fitness. Starbase has lots of robotics and engineering. The Viv Bioactive has reptiles, including a boa constrictor and a tortoise. The Montana Natural History Center is going to come over. Another field trip is hybrid motion. They do, primarily dance and tumbling, but they also do ninja courses, and they're going to have some Nerf floors for us to help keep those boys engaged.
Looks
It will
like
also go to the Montana Raptor Conservation Center. And then our final week, we're going to do some hiking to Thompson Park and learn about some local history. Forest Service will come do some wildfire education and wilderness safety. And then one of our big field trips is 406 Cirque. They run a full surf performer camp and things with kids, but they're going to spend a whole day teaching our kids how to juggle, tightrope, walking globe, unicycle, and really get interactive, some clowning skills. Flying Classroom will have 2 sessions for some science projects with red pandas, learning about Coast Guard, python hunting. One other unique opportunity that we brought in is a book fair. So we're starting out kind of small with this year, but there is a program where we can purchase books where the students can come in, they're brand new books, they're high interest, things that are current, and the students will get to take some of those with them. And it'll also help us build a little bit of a classroom library down in the 21st century. So we're excited about that family engagement piece with some education there. The part of agriculture, petting zoo is our final day. So we'll have live animals, some branding, roping, face painting, and again, welcome families to come in to participate with us there. So a lot of stuff packed into 4 weeks. We have made signups available for families to choose just the weeks that are appropriate for them. We know everybody's schedule is hard. We encourage you to take a look, and at least you can only make 1 week, sign up for that 1 week. But we do spend a significant amount of time and funding planning this program. So we appreciate the kids and families that are willing to come and participate when they can. 6th grade orientation. So Ms. Worth has done this for a few years now, and typically, like I said, 21st Century is able to support it. This year, we've asked for some supplemental funds, and Mrs. Maskins has said if we don't get those, she'll help with some supplies and things like that to support this. So if you've had a student transition into 6th grade recently, you know how important this is. They spend a lot of time learning their schedules, practicing, learning where classrooms are, opening those locker combinations, learning how to use Infinite Campus, check their grades, just setting the foundation for the basis for them to be successful in transitioning to middle school. So this will happen later in August before school starts, but Ms. Worth has sent those signups. Please, again, complete them sooner rather than later, and even if you're not able to attend, give her that feedback so that she knows. So again, just thank you to our program staff that have been willing to do this. I think you have a list of new hires for the summer that we would appreciate your approval on. Again, it takes a lot of time, not only in school year, after school, but then to come in the summer when everybody's kind of burnt out. So we really appreciate all the staff that were willing to make this happen. We've also sent out surveys from the state for parents and program staff and school day teachers. The school administration have completed theirs. We've done surveys with the students, but again, we always want your impact or your input. If there's feedback on your family isn't able to come for this reason, or that this would be a very high interest activity, or the schedule just doesn't work this way, or more available on these days, things like that is helpful for us to know so we can continue to plan a program that works for the majority. So pending any questions, that's all I have.
I'm just impressed. Everything's ninja training to circus to Williams Plumbing and Heating to the guard. Oh, goodness gracious. There's
Yeah, I think every year it gets better, which I don't know how that's possible, but great work to you and Kristen and your group.
Thank you. We're always looking for new ideas, and so if you have ideas or contacts or things, we have a pretty wide range, so we try to hit something for every kid in their interest, so please let us know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, speaking of staffing, the 21st century, we need to hire the 21st century program summer staff.
This document is not loading properly on the iPad, so Alyssa will read off the names.
Instructional staff, Martha Farren, Liberty BG, Ruger BG, Cassie Edsel, Brianna Ostrander, Christina Lucas, Barbie Dyson, Toya Kelly, Jake Johnson, Casey Norbeck, Carrie Grayhay, Janet Heilig, Michelle McReynolds, and Jordan Miller. And the high school aides will be Max Fernstrom, Agatha Peachels, Riley Einboden, Ireland Kelly, and Eli Martinez.
So we'd ask for your approval.
Need a motion?
I motion to approve the 21st century staff.
Second.
Seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, hire classified staff.
Okay, so last month you hired the teaching staff, and this month we'd ask that you hire our classified staff, which is all of our non-certified positions. So these are our lunch positions, our IT, nurse, secretarial, clerk, maintenance, paraprofessionals, et cetera, all of our auxiliary positions. And including one teacher who's on there because he's doing summer help. He's worked on our maintenance crew in the summer. So Colton Anderson, Ruger Beege, Dennis Briggs, Brianna Cameron, Alyssa Christensen, Justin Clement, Jamie Cox, Barbie Dyson, Cassie Edsel, Sheila Eiserer, Steph Frazier, Krista Glaus, Jay Johnson, Christina Lucas, Leo Maestas, Kristen Moriarty, Miranda Murray, Brianna Ostrander, Amina Porter, Jed Prevo, Scott Prevo, Leanna Rosales, Jason Silvani, Trish Scarborough, Angelica Turner, and Stormy Wasberg. We'd ask that you approve their employment.
I move to approve the classified staff.
Second.
Seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, hire fifth grade teacher Katie Christensen.
So this should be a familiar name to those of you who have been on the board for a while. So Kate Christensen was formerly a fifth grade teacher in our district, moved to Sheridan. They're now planning to move back this way. And it so happens that as a result of Kristen Slater's transfer to our middle school math position, and then we had originally transferred Josie Jenkins there, but she is departing to take a job in Ennis. We had a fifth grade vacancy, and so advertised, and we received 2 applicants, and Katie was our most qualified and applicant, and we're definitely looking forward to having someone who we know back in that position. Anything to add, Mr. Koenig?
No, I think you got it. I'm very excited to have her rejoin the Trojan team.
All right, do we have a motion?
I move to approve Katie Christensen for the 5th grade position.
I'll second.
Seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Proposal to co-op for girls wrestling with Butte High School.
Okay, so next year, according to our feeder program, which is the Whitehall Little Guy Wrestling, and our coach, our head coach, Dawson Harris, we will have just the one girls wrestler for our team, which creates a lack of sparring partners. Practice is important, and we want to create more opportunities for sparring partners. And sparring partners at the correct weight. So it isn't just any girl that can be the sparring partner. We also need people that are appropriately matched in skill and in weight. So this challenge was brought to our attention at the start of the wrestling season by the athletes' parents. And they mentioned, her sparring partner was graduating this year, and could we look into a co-op? So we have reached out to all of our surrounding districts to basically ascertain who would be interested. The problem for most districts, and this was the case with Jefferson and Ennis, is that if they were to co-op with us, it would cause them to have to move to A wrestling because when you co-op, you add the enrollments of both the high schools together, and then that is your enrollment. So most of our neighboring districts declined the ask of co-oping based upon the numbers situation. And so we also reached out to Butte schools, both Butte Central and Butte High School. Butte Central told us they were in the same boat as us, that they didn't know if they were gonna have a girls wrestling program next year, and they also were looking to co-op with Butte High. And so it appears that there was kind of a surge in numbers, and now it's kind of evening out, and some schools are short girls. So Butte High was agreeable to this idea. Mr. Violet put a lot of time and effort into the communications with the Butte High AD, and the communications went on for weeks, and they are agreeable to bringing this to their school board. I also spoke to their superintendent and their AD a week ago to confirm all was a go, and they said yes. Basically, if your board approves this, then they would take it to their June board meeting for subsequent approval on the Butte end, but that they would definitely be willing to consider adding us to their program. This is important for us because obviously we want to continue girls wrestling. It's not a program we're looking to cut. We're looking to make it through a rough patch where we just have one girls wrestler. There are a number of girls in the lower junior high and upper elementary levels currently in the Whitehall program, and if they continue with wrestling in a few years, it looks like we will have a group which then we can self-sustain. It is important to note that MHSA's co-op rules changed as of 2 years ago, and 2 years ago it became a year-by-year co-op situation where co-ops are no longer in 3-year increments is what they used to be. They used to be kind of a 3-year agreement, and then you'd have to revisit it in 3 years. Now they're just year by year, and any one of the schools can exit at any time. So basically, if the co-op is approved, it's approved for next year, and then everyone reevaluates and sees if that's something that will work for both entities into the future, and then it's kind of a year by year analysis. And that's based upon our needs, their needs, and whether, it's working for everybody. So really, all you're approving at this time is a 1-year co-op, and then it's reassessed based upon if we have additional kids entering into the program and whether or not it was effective. So happy to answer any questions.
I have a question. So you said our surrounding schools, if we combine with them, would force us up into Class A.
Correct.
How is that different from Butte High? I'm just curious. as
Butte,
far as-
that's the highest classification, AA. There's nowhere higher to
It's
go.
not real great. Just
You-
one.
You can't go any higher.
You can't go any higher, they're right
I
at
understand
AA.
that, so that will make, is that just for girls? What's that gonna do for us wrestling this year?
It doesn't affect us, it affects the school that's taking on our kids.
That's correct.
I see.
So like Three Forks and Ennis co-op for wrestling,
Got
that's why they were Class A,
that.
because it combines.
Yeah, so girls would wrestle at AA because they are a member of the Butte High team, and our boys would be B. We are hosting our own team, so
They
there's
do
no
it
effect.
separate, okay. No, that's
There's no
great.
effect on us. Yeah, when you co-op, you become a member of that team. It's just like Harrison becoming a member of our team.
But does it change just that one? Or does it take the entire?
Single sport.
But if there's only one athlete joining, is it just increasing their?
No, it's the enrollment of both high schools, so they will have to add 167 kids to their enrollment. So it's the potential, not how many athletes you actually have. Yeah, it would be great if it was only the one.
Yeah.
Because then there would be no argument that we would
It
be
wouldn't
affecting
matter.
other schools. No, you have to add your entire high school enrollments together.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah,
That's what I thought too. I'm not used to thinking about it as splits. They're viewing girls and boys as two separate teams.
yeah,
in a
separate.
Co-op.
They're considered
That
a
makes
separate
sense.
sport, yeah.
I appreciate the clarity.
Any other questions? All right, we need a motion.
I move to approve the co-op of girls wrestling with Butte High School.
I'll second.
Seconded. Any more discussion?
Just as far as next steps, if approved, we will submit this to Butte. They will take it to their board. It is pending approval, so this is not a for sure thing until their board approves it. So it requires 2 boards to approve, and then beyond that, it has to go to the MHSA executive board, who has to review it and put final approval on it. So there's 2 major steps. We're just initiating the first step, and then it's out of our hands and into the hands of other entities.
Is there any reason why it would be approved?
View High could decide it's not, in their best interest to do a co-op, that they don't want to devote youth resources, so that's possible. MHSA can deny for any reason. We've talked to them a lot through this process, so they know this is coming. This is not unexpected. If you were to approve it, MHSA is aware. I don't know why they would deny it. I think they generally give kids more opportunities if they can.
Yeah.
Would it, I'm assuming whoever does co-op with them, they would provide their own transportation to and from events, or is Whitehall gonna provide?
So that's a great question. So we have to provide transportation for the student to practice and to Butte High to board their bus to go to events. So the way that we would do that is through an individual transportation contract. So these exist, like we basically reimburse for mileage at a state assigned rate. It's not a rate that do you know what the rate is? Okay, it's in our transportation software.
Is it like a federal fuel reimbursement? Like
Correct.
67 cents a mile type thing?
Yes, that is correct. So essentially, they have to track their practices and so on, and then we reimburse for that travel.
And is that likely the parent, or is it some?
Or is it a school vehicle?
Or is it?
It's not a school vehicle. This is them transporting them, the parent transporting. Yeah.
And so that basically, and I'm just trying to think of budgets wise, for one student to go back and forth 3 or 4 times a week on that could increase the wrestling budget.
So
On that. I'm just kind of running over a
It
budget.
depends upon if you consider that in years past, we've had a girls exclusive coach, like that has existed too, so.
A girls exclusive hotel room, right?
Yeah, girls exclusive, travel expenses.
Which we don't have any of that currently if this co-op happens. There would be no.
Yeah,
girls
so
coach
once you can come back and say, we want you to do X, Y, and Z. So it really depends upon what stipulations you put on it, if they're gonna make us reimburse for like a percentage of a hotel room or not. We do that with Harrison and Willow Creek. So when we do hotel rooms, like for football or for basketball or wrestling, they pay for a percentage of a hotel room, like 1/4 of a hotel room.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I guess one last thing I feel compelled to add. Obviously, we do want to see girls wrestling survive, because if it does not, then we would be out of compliance with Title IX and have to cut a boys sport, which
Right.
would likely be either boys wrestling, which I think would be very unpopular, or boys golf, which I also think would be unpopular. So we really need an equal number of girls and boys sports. So we're just in a situation where we don't have enough girls at this time to really have a viable program. When someone doesn't
So we
have
want to keep it alive.
practice partners. Yeah, so we're trying to keep it going until we know we have a larger group that's coming. We just don't have these kids right now. And we're not recommending at this time that we cut a sport unless that's what you would like to do. So,
And then right now, there's only, as far as we know, there's only one girl that's interested in wrestling. Is that kind of what the understanding is in the school? One
high school student.
high school student is.
And not 8th graders coming up. Anticipated.
There's none anticipating in 8th grade. Oh, okay.
Like Ian said, it's a very large and growing sport in every other town around the state.
Mhm. No, I think it's good to keep it. I just as interest. Maybe there's a way to build interest in it, is all my thought is. Like, I don't know, throw a camp or something so that there's interest in it so we can keep it going. But
It kind of builds bottom up in Whitehall. There is a really robust community program for elementary and middle school students. There just appears to be a gap at the present time.
There are lots of girls in little guy wrestling.
In
We have to
the,
change the name. It's not
Yeah, little people.
It's like slow wrestlers.
Yeah.
It's not little guys, so
Oh,
slow
it's
wrestlers.
gender neutral.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
so, yeah, so that it's coming. I think it's actually the fastest growing sport in the United States right now.
Well, they added an extra day to the state tournament just because there's so many girls wrestling.
wow.
So you just have to limp it through for a couple
Yeah,
years.
so
all these
we're trying to find
Yeah.
a good option for our sole athlete to keep the program viable, allow her to remain competitive and have sparring partners. Obviously, if all of this falls through, then we are still having girls wrestling. However, it's not an ideal environment for the sole girls wrestler. So we're doing everything we can to see that we have the best opportunity.
If it doesn't go through, if this co-op doesn't go through, what is the plan for that athlete?
We would have girls wrestling.
Was
She would
one
have no one to practice with, and she would go into competitions without having practiced. It's not ideal.
Gotcha, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, anything else? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, approve Jefferson County to run the spring 2027 school elections.
Wanna speak to that?
Sure. So we have the county run the election every year for us so that we don't have to do it. So this is a good thing. It's just a resolution that we pass every year to have Jefferson County Clerk and Recorder to do our elections for next year. Which would, as we fall right now, their rotation would be used.
The seat. You're the following year. We just have one seat that's.
How do you use
We must
that?
be on the same rotation.
So we need a motion.
I move to approve Jefferson County to run the spring 2027 school election.
I second it.
Seconded. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Certify election of trustees.
Okay, so, everyone should have a packet. The county delivered these yesterday. Basically, their Jefferson County software does not align with Madison County software. So they have to count Madison County's votes with spreadsheets. So that's in your packet, but basically these are the canvas results for the election between West and Edwards and Ryan County.
I think it's really important to note, we had really low turnout, 31% of registered voters voted, which is disappointing that more people are engaged. They sent out 498 ballots and 153 were returned. So it's kind of a disappointing, I guess, for lack of a better word, turnout. So definitely encourage people to become more active and vote. Like to see that increase in future years.
All right, do we have a motion to certify the election?
I'll second.
Seconded. Any discussion?
Well, if we deny, does he have to stay?
He's not staying.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
I think it's important to recognize your service, Chad. Thank you very much for your years here on our school board. I appreciate your contributions and your insights.
Well, thank you, enjoyed working with all of you.
Thank you, Chad.
Thanks, Chad.
Before you leave, we need to approve the claims and counts. So do we have a motion to approve the elementary claims and accounts?
I would, no, I don't. Second. No, I can't do the elementary, sorry.
I so move.
I'll second that.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Now we need a motion to approve the high school claims and accounts.
I'll move to approve the high school claims and accounts.
Second.
Last second. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Now we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Meeting is adjourned.
And now we will
Have a good meeting.
begin our reorganization meeting. So Chad is
Thank
dismissed,
you.
and Ryan, we will have you take Chad's place.
Does Chad take his plaque?
Yeah, he's.
Yeah.
He cannot get out of here